The lifetime value of your products and the work you put in for your Amazon business is so incredibly important the longer you run the business. You grind today to run things on autopilot in the future. At least I'm assuming that's what you want out of your Amazon business. Doing this will ensure that you're not always forced to be tracking down new products to sell. Rather, you have a bunch of products that you can always filter through. Now, this is a very simple concept to already introduce into your current Amazon business. You might already be doing it, but if you're not, then this video is for you. So watch this quick video, implement the steps I'm about to show you. And it's going to ensure that you always have products to buy and you can allocate all your capital to the most profitable items so you can eventually make a lot more money too. Anyways, if you don't already know me, my name is Dave and I've been selling Amazon for about 3 years. I found success relatively quickly with the arbitrage model. And now I post videos like this showing real value you can actually take and implement inside of your Amazon business to see real results. Anyways, let's get into what I'm talking about today. So the LTV of your work. Why is this very important? Well, it's important because obviously in the beginning of your business, right, your time spent and your income, your time spent, as it goes up, your income should naturally start to exponentially go up in the business. And that's simply because the LTV of your work is increasing, right? So you spend a lot of time in the beginning, right? You might not be making that much money. Then eventually you can allocate that money that you do have into some really good items, right? Obviously in the beginning, we want to be doing this, but we go through testing periods to know this. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at here is your income is going to naturally go up the longer you spend running the business, but it's going to look like this. It's not going to be like a straight line. So this is what we're looking at. And the reason to this is because your products are compounding, right? The compounding of your products is the reason that your LTV is going up. The LTV of your work, the LTV of your products. So there's a couple different ways we can break this down. The first way is actually through different sourcing methods. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can actually find products. There's 2 ways actually that are probably the most well, not really 2 methods, but 2 different ways of going about finding products and why one might be better than the other. Let me explain both of them to you real quick. So let's say you have product A, okay? It makes you $100 a month for 6 months. You found it with Keep a Product Finder and you're able to restock that item. Or you have product B, it makes you $900 one time. You bought it off of clearance and you cannot restock this item. So here are your 2 options. Which one's better? Well, probably you'd say this one because you're probably making that 900 quicker. This is taking you 6 months and you made more money on it. So obviously this one's gonna be better. Now, the only issue with this is while with the Keep a Product Finder method, we're doing this method, we learned it, we know how to put in filters, or we reverse source and find a bunch of items. We're able to go ahead and restock this item because we're not buying it off of clearance. Whereas something like this, for example, let's say we bought an item from like Yankee Candle on a massive clearance, well, we're never going to be able to buy that product again. So we spent that exact same amount of time finding this item, and yes, it might make us more right now. It's just not going to make us any money in the future. Whereas as you can see with this, as I'm going to show you some examples here, doing sourcing methods like this enables us to have items in our database that we can always filter back to whenever we want, right? It might not always be profitable. We might not always want to be buying it, but in 7, 8, 12, 15 months, I can always look back at it, or I can have a team member look back at it and allocate that money where it needs to be, right? So again, potential for future profit. This is not capped at $100 a month for 6 months. And this one is one and done. This is capped. This is all we're going to make off that product. And again, it takes about the same amount of time. Now, why would someone steer to this type of sourcing, like going off of clearance? Because it's easier to find an item that you pay, $3 on clearance that usually costs $20. It's easier to find that profitably than it would to learn Product Finder, plug in some filters, and figure out how to source like this. That's why someone would go to here. And newbies always do this. They go to these items. Well, newbies don't really know how to actually read charts. So they make a lot of mistakes like that. But the other thing is they're pushed in this direction, scan clearance and do this. And it's cool and all, and you make some money, but the only issue is, again, it's short-lived. So we want to build a sustainable long-term business where we don't have to work as much, we make more money. So that's why we're focusing on these types of sourcing methods. And this is why it's so crucial to, realize that. Now, you might be asking yourself, like, okay, well, yes, I sold it once, but how do I actually know if I can sell it again later? Like, how do I look back at it? That's way too much to keep track of. Luckily for us, we have Seller Board, this tool. This is what I use, tracks all of your items. So what I would do if I'm struggling to hit my spend and I want to allocate money to better items is what I would do in these situations was I'd go back to, let's say, so today is July 28th. I would go back to January. What was my best item in January? I'd look through my spreadsheet, look through Seller Board, see all the breakdowns. I sorted from most sold to least. And then I'd be like, okay, I haven't sold this in a while. Is it profitable? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's still not the best. So I hold off. And I just go down that list of items. And I have hundreds of items that I sell through within a month. So I have so many items to go through. And obviously, reflecting back to what this chart looked like, this casually goes up because the amount of items that you're bringing in is always going up doing this method. You're finding products. And the step 2 that I'm going to mention here is also going to help introduce new products to your business as well. That's why it can be so powerful. And that's why this is why we're focusing on these types of methods, because these are not one and done. These last for the entirety of your business. Like, you're always going to have this database growing of items that you can go back to and bring onto your store. So let me just show you some examples of items, right? Like for example, this product right here is off of like a promo, it's off of a sale. So currently we can get it shipped, right? It's massively discounted. So maybe I can find a listing on Amazon where I can sell this, and I can easily go through this website and find a bunch of, things that work. The only issue is I'm going to buy it, send it through, send it in, sell through. It's going to take about a couple weeks. And then I come back here and I can no longer buy because it's just done. It's no longer available for purchase. So clearly that's not the best use of my time, when instead I could be tracking down items like this that are super cyclical, right? If I show you these examples and what the chart actually looks like, these items that are super cyclical, and they might work for a little bit and then they might not work and then they work again. So they're on and off, always profitable, always not profitable. So like if we look at this product right here in this chart, we can clearly see there's phases where it's really profitable, where I'd want to be selling it, and phases where it's not the best. And, maybe this isn't in our ideal ROI range, so we'd hold off, then it's good again. So these products go back and forth. And a lot of these products that we're finding with this filtering method actually is showing us products just like this. And I'm going to show you that filter here in a sec as well. But as you can see, this item too, again, these items are just old items that, have been filtered through and looked at. Like they're good and they're bad and they're good and they're bad. And we're building this database of items that we can always circle back to. We always have stuff to buy, and we can really milk out our profits when we're selling up here, right? This is like the whole goal of this, is to sell these items at their highest point. And if you're new, don't worry, because this is just a thing with time. This is what happens in your Amazon business, but you have to be like paying attention to this when you're starting out, and realizing that this is kind of like the goal with all of this, is to be tracking out items that are like going through phases like this. And this is just not going to happen with items that are clearanced out like this. The LTV of these items are so much higher. There's always opportunities there to go back and find new stuff to sell. So that is why I would be focusing on a strategy like Keep a Product Finder over sourcing clearance out products. Just in my opinion, that's just been the easiest for me to do. And it's pretty simple to use, right? Everyone should have Keepa. You go to data, you go to product finder, and here we can plug in any kind of filter you want, right? We can plug in filters where Amazon's not in stock. We can find a bunch of sellers on a really good arbitrage item, plug all their seller IDs into product finder, and then filter it in however we want, right? We can take 100 sellers, or let's just say we take 50 sellers, throw them into here, and then filter products that don't have Amazon on them, filter products that are in a certain sales rank, filter products that maybe had 50 offers on them 3 months ago, and now they only have 10 offers on them, so a decreasing offer count. Obviously, these are going to lead to more opportunities, and it's very simple to get the hang of Product Finder. I have a couple videos on Product Finder, and you could just throw in numbers and plug out profit like this. Now, obviously, it's easier said than done, right? You need to kind of learn what you're looking for, and you got to learn the market, but these types of methods are much more beneficial as you progress in your business versus sourcing products like this. It's just, these items are going to last inside of your database, which is the goal of this business, is to just build a database of products to allocate that money to. So other than your sourcing method, the other thing you can really do is actually hire a VA to come on, right? You hire a VA, they send you products. Now, not all these products are going to be purchasable. They're not all going to be the best opportunities, but that doesn't mean you can't, again, they're still adding products to a database. So maybe your VA sends you 6 products a day. Out of those 6, on average, 2 of them you buy. Doesn't mean those 4 are garbage. It just means those 4 are currently not the best to buy, but they can still be really good arbitrage items that we can always circle back to. So again, I've had my VA for a very long time now, and I just have a database list of items that I can constantly go through. And I've showed this before, but like, it's just products that I can always filter back to, always look back at, because I have someone in the back doing this for me, building out a database of items where I can allocate my money to. And I can look through these and compare and see what I want to throw my money into. Or again, I can hire another VA to come on and do that exact same process. That's up to you to decide. And it's very easy to hire a VA, right? We just go to a website like onlinejobs.ph. And as you can see here, there's just so much talent. Like even if we just search online arbitrage, there's just so much talent that we can find. What you're going to want to do is actually post a job posting, and you go through a pretty in-depth period where you need to interview these people, get them through like your little funnel of potential, opportunity clients, because not every VA is going to be good coming out of here. So you need to have a pretty strict process in how you hire a VA, because a lot of these VAs will work for other people. A lot of these VAs are sketchy, and they will send you leads from a leads list. So obviously we're not paying a VA full-time hours for that, but you can outsource a VA for very low cost, $300 to $500 a month, and they can send you products, in like this pretty much daily, Monday through Friday. But again, you need to have a process for vetting these VAs, making sure you're not getting like some random one that's just going to, play you. This is very important. But also, once you do get a rockstar VA, well, then now you're, again, building that database of potential products to buy. And back to this chart here, this is why this is just so exponential, because you're always expanding it. You're never going to have an issue again of where do I put my money, because you're going to have the products, you're going to have so many different things to put your money in. There's always going to be something to buy at its most profitable price, which is what you're going to try and maximize to make the most amount of money and really boost those margins in your business. But this is just a long-term play. This is like a long-term game here. And this is what you can expect, if you're actually thinking about the LTV of your work, right? Think about the sourcing methods you're doing, right? What are you doing? Are you spending your time searching clearance, or are you actually learning real methods to find products that you can restock? Figure that out right now and decide for yourself how you'd want to do that. In my opinion, you got to be learning these kind of methods. Product finder, reverse sourcing, those are the types of ways you want to be sourcing. And then again, hiring process, eventually get the VA to come on board. Just make sure you have a very strict way of bringing them on, not just any random VA, because most likely, 90% of VAs that are going to come through your application process probably are not going to be ideal for you. Probably not going to be the best and not worth your money. You have to just ask yourself this question. Are you trying to eventually pivot your Amazon business from like a grind hustle to like an actual sustainable business that you can make a ton of money on without having to work a whole bunch of hours, giving you time to do other things? If you answered yes to this, then you have to consider these strategies I mentioned in this video. And again, they're not like you have to completely pivot everything. They're just things to kind of implement slowly into your business. As you can see, this is definitely not a sprint. This whole business is a marathon. Think about what's going to be in the next year. I know it's hard for some people to comprehend that, but that's how you have to think about it. And once you're in the basics and you figure out how to source, which it really isn't that complicated if you just spend some time doing it every single day, this business becomes very, very easy. Everything else is easily implemented, like setting up a repricer, like getting cheaper shipping. All those kinds of things are just easily implemented once you learn the basics. That's why you can see so many of my students hitting 10K in their second month, 30K in a couple months, 60K, because the process is very simple. It's just spending that time to learn the sourcing methods and actually getting an eye for the types of products that do well on Amazon. If you want to start or scale an Amazon business similar to this, and you want my personal one-on-one help in doing so, no, I don't sell a course, and no, it's not just a little coaching program where I just give you a random coach to help you out. It's me and you getting on Zoom, building out your Amazon business together. If that's something you're interested in, there is a link below on Calendly, booking a call with us. But I also have a ton of resources across my YouTube page that will also help you get started with all of this. I'm also very active on Instagram. I'm posting it there daily, so I'm going to link that below. Follow me on there as well. That's all I got for this week. I'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao.